Welcome back to Conversation with the Candidates. I'm joined today by Chris Petrus, the Republican candidate for Cayuga County Clerk. Chris, thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to articulate to the voters of Cayuga County why I'm the best fit for Cayuga County Clerk.
So let's start with that. You've been a legislator for several years now. You've served your community in various ways, but why make the jump to run for clerk?
Well, I think to some extent it's the fulfillment of a life's ambition, moving up the political ladder. But really where the clerk came to manifest itself, my interest in the office of county clerk manifested itself, is through my exposure in working with Sue as the chair of government operations. I got to see the different, the clerk's office is involved in many different things that the county does. And it's piqued my interest, and through working with Sue for many years and being the chair of government operations, I got to see that, the wonderful things the clerk's office does and the services that they provide, and want to be part of that.
So I know one thing in this race, every candidate's really stepped up and said, I have the experience to do this.
Yes.
What experience for you is worth highlighting in terms of what qualifications you have for this important role?
Thank you for that question, because I think that, yes, everyone has said that they are qualified, and I think the basic qualifications are meant to be clerk by each and every one of us. That's why I've said that I have the right experience, and the reason why is as follows. I think prior to my experience as a county legislator, I served in several different supervisory capacities. I was the director, program coordinator for PINs, JDs. I've done hiring, I've done firing. Any definition of the supervisor role, I've done that, budgeting, disciplinary reports. I think I have that experience, which then, in addition to the experience, again, as the chairman of government operations, I got this more detailed experience. So I had those sort of global supervisory skills, and then I worked on the sort of day-to-day operations of the clerks to have relevant experience to what the clerk's office does, the managing of the 4 departments that the clerk's office oversees.
What are your priorities if you're elected clerk? What are a few of your priorities for that office and overseeing? There's 4 departments
Yes.
that the clerk oversees. So, I guess what are the priorities for serving as clerk, but also for overseeing those departments?
So, first and foremost, customer service is the priority number one. The people, the constituents of Cayuga County, have enjoyed great service through Sue Dwyer, and I want to continue that. Make sure that they enjoy those benefits that the clerk's office provides. So that's number one. I want to make sure that happens. Then there's, of course, the Dreams Project. I'd like to think that I was instrumental in I authored that legislation for the Dreams Project, captured that funding for it. We're in phase 1 of 4 phases. We're pretty much we're getting through phase 1. But I want to ensure the completion of the Dreams Act and make sure that digitizes all of our paperwork, so to speak, while preserving the historic nature of our paperwork, which I think is a good segue into another one. It's a personal favorite of mine. One of the departments that the clerk oversees is the historian's office. And I have I like to consider myself a student of history, and I have a great interest in that. So I want to preserve our historic documents dating back to, I think it's 1791 when we split off from Onondaga County. We have the back portion of the clerk's office is all the documents that have to be preserved, and that actually transitions into the building project, believe it or not, because we need like a hermetically sealed room. So I want to ensure that the documents that preserving our nature, our historic nature of Auburn, Cayuga County, I want to make sure that's done. So, and then lastly, I'll say that one of the priorities that I'd like to bring back is the Sue Dwyer did what was called County Clerk on the Road. I'd like to bring that back. COVID sort of put a damper on that, and I thought that was a very interesting prospect for the constituents because as you know, being a candidate countywide, acutely aware of 75 miles north to south. So that can be prohibitive for our constituents. So I'd like to do one in the north, one in the south. You can do the veterans benefit cards. You can do passports. Things of that nature that we can accomplish at a satellite site and just make it easier for the constituents of Cayuga County to access those services that the clerk provides.
How frequently would you be able to do something like that?
I'd like to do it at least quarterly. It's that may be ambitious, but I'd like to, because the more that we can do that, the more service that we're providing to the constituents. So quarterly at first, I'll say, but again, maybe ambitious as I get in there. But that's a goal I think that is reasonable.
So the one department that everybody knows with the clerk's office, maybe they don't know that the clerk oversees it, but they know the department, the DMV.
Yes.
Our DMV has a pretty good reputation here
Certainly.
in Cayuga County. So how do you keep that going as clerk and maybe make it even better? What types of things that you look for there to continue that reputation, but maybe make some improvements too?
So I think one of the things is that I think we should push, again, I'd like to echo that the DMV does have a great reputation. All the departments under Sue have a great reputation. And I think that they have fine workers. So if you have good horses, let them run, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But also there's a lot of things that actually were implemented on the state level. Like we can capture the revenue from online transactions. I think that we should focus on that, promote that more and help that, because that again brings back revenue to the county and can facilitate further goals and changes that we can implement from there.
Speaking of the state, I know Sue Dwyer as clerk, she was an advocate for not just her office, but county clerks across the state on various issues. I did a story about her years ago regarding the local DMVs versus how the state DMV operates.
Right.
How do you see yourself if you're elected following in those footsteps and trying to be an advocate for not just the clerk's office here, but for other clerks too?
I think as a relative outsider at this point, I think the best avenue for me to explore that and learn, quite frankly, is through the Association of County Clerks. I want to be active in that, learn from my counterparts, share information. I think that's pretty common across all spectrums of employment. People share ideas and grow on the other ideas. So I'd like to become active in the State Association of County Clerks. There's other things that I think it's called, it's a certification, I think it's called Master Municipal Clerk, MMC. Not sure if that's something that I would be able to explore or to achieve, but that'd be something that I'd look into. Again, educating myself, just constantly learning and endeavoring to better the office and learn from my counterparts.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of Sue Dwyer, there was an announcement made recently that she is endorsing you for clerk. Yeah. She has served in that office for 20 years, so she knows the qualifications needed for that job, and she decided to support your campaign. What's that mean to you as a candidate to have that support from the incumbent clerk?
As a candidate, it's invaluable. It's certainly, I think that it brings a lot of weight. Not only was she the clerk for 20 years, but I think she was a beloved clerk, well liked. To the best of my knowledge, I think she ran unopposed, save for her first time. Yeah. So that is, it's just, I can't quantify how much that means in terms of my candidacy. However, I think I alluded before to you that Sue has been, it means the world to me personally that Sue sees fit to endorse me as a candidate and thinks that I'm the best to succeed her. Secede. Yeah, thank you. I don't want to secede from the union. Right. I want to succeed her. But yeah, so basically that means the world to me, and I'm frankly humbled and honored that Sue chose in a list of other candidates that are indeed qualified. She agrees with me and thinks that I'm the best qualified to carry on her legacy, so to speak.
So we'll close with this, what's the pitch to voters? You go on, knock on some doors, you meet people at pancake breakfast, what's the, they have 3 candidates to choose from this year, as you said, they each have their own qualifications that they bring to the table here, so how do you hope to stand out among out of the rest and, convince voters that you're the guy for the job?
Thank you for that opportunity. I think, and as I said, all the candidates are qualified, as I've said throughout my campaign literature and even in our discussion today. I think that my experience is particularly relevant and makes me uniquely qualified. Again, through the supervisory positions I've had throughout the years, managing staff, and then also as a legislator, get to see the day-to-day operations with working with Sue, see the budget overall, see, all that stuff comes from my committee. When you change civil service titles, and how they move to better suit the needs of the public, and in turn the clerk's office. Again, I think my experience is particularly relevant and makes me uniquely qualified to become the next county clerk.
Okay, great. Well, Chris Petrus, the Republican candidate for Cayuga County Clerk, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.